I'm going to eat this banana. Don't be immature. So it is my 3-year LAversary. Yay, celebration, yay. Not much to report because I've spent the past year trying to survive a pandemic. Sure, some of you can relate. I have no major plans. There's not really much that I can do. I mean, sure, things are opening up and people are starting to gather and hang out and all that. But I'm still not comfortable enough to do any of that right now. Certainly don't feel comfortable enough to go sit in someone's restaurant and eat. But even if I did, thanks to my health issues, it's not like I can really go out and have like some indulgent, terrible meal. And yesterday I had to run errands, so I was just out and about in the streets, and it's quite terrible, but I pretty much ate fast food all day. So for the first time in a long time, like having fast food like that. So I definitely need to watch what I eat in the near future. But as far as, a report on the past year in LA, well, shit. Pandemic hit. I was worried about surviving, moved out of one unlivable situation essentially into another, dealt with noisy neighbors, still dealing with noisy neighbors, and trying to make this screenwriting shit pop off, which hasn't happened yet. And I'm going to say partly due to the pandemic, because I feel like things were starting to ramp up. We were getting to a place where things were going to happen, and then, But yeah, it's been 3 years, and unlike other moves that I've made, I feel like, I definitely feel like I'm behind. So I gotta catch up. I suppose the past year hasn't been all bad. I mean, I was finally forced to get a car. and and moving, that was certainly something that I needed to do. I mean, these were things that I planned to do anyway. It's just like the pandemic just kind of forced me to do these things a lot sooner than I than I had planned to. So yeah, my entire life was upended. I mean, I know a lot of people can say that, but my life was upended. The friends that I'd started to make out here, a lot of them moved, and it's really crazy because I'd only been out here for like 2 years at the time, and you start to get into a groove. You start to get familiar with certain places and people, certain things. Like you start to build your life around this kind of like familiarity, and when that's taken from you, you feel like you got to start all over. I mean, I had to essentially start all over. Thankfully, I was able to start over from a good place, but I still had to start over. And as we all know, starting over sucks. Sucks big time. At the park, getting my walk in. It's a lot sunnier today than it was yesterday. Yesterday, it was gray and gloomy, just overcast. That was something I was not prepared for when I moved out here, was how gray it can get and for how often, how long. I mean, we're still in April, but later on in June, we're gonna get what they call June gloom. June gloom is a phenomenon that just blows my mind, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is gloomy, or can get extremely gloomy, in the month of June. Didn't know about that. So I mentioned that a lot of people that I befriended when I moved out here have moved away. And that just seems to be a thing. Like, when the pandemic hit, a lot of folks, whether they just couldn't afford to stay or whether it presented an opportunity they've been looking for in order to move, they moved away. And even on YouTube, I was seeing like lots of videos where people were just like, why I'm moving, why I'm leaving Los Angeles. Well, I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. Not yet, at least. When I moved out here with a purpose. And that purpose was to break in to the film industry as a screenwriter. And yeah, I get with technology and everything, and especially now with the rise of like Zoom and tele-networking and all this other good stuff. I get that you don't have to be in LA
But the truth is you have to be in LA. People will talk all this stuff about how, you know, like writers' rooms, if you're looking at getting into TV writing, writers' rooms are virtual now and everything. But the truth is they're angling to get back into like real rooms. Like they're not trying to stay virtual forever. They want to bring people into physical rooms, have that in-person experience. And that's just TV writing. I mean, I'm not looking to break into TV writing. I'm looking to break in as a feature writer. And even with features, yeah, you don't have to live in Los Angeles, but networking. Like that's really why I moved out here, is because I wanted to network in person and I wanted to be present. I wanted them to be like, all right, yeah, we know Jay Fingers, we've met him. Can you come to the office? Can you come to this meeting tomorrow? And I want to be able to say, yeah, I can come tomorrow. I don't have to worry about hopping on a plane and flying 6 hours across the country for a 30-minute meeting. It just, I don't know, it just made sense to me. And look, here's the thing. I've met a great deal of people via social media, but the fact that I actually live out here, I've actually been able to meet them in person as well. You know, we were having writers meetups, WGA and pre-WGA meetups. I mean, that goes a long way to building relationships in this industry. And for as much as we can like each other's posts and retweet each other, nothing beats sitting down with somebody in person and chatting with them. It just leaves a better, much longer lasting impression. So that's really the main reason why I moved out here, and the main reason why I'm not leaving just yet. Honestly, another thing for me, and I know I talked about June gloom and all that stuff, but honestly, the weather. The weather out here is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Look, as much as I love New York, when it got cold, oh, that cold was brutal. It was brutal. And when it rained, it was treacherous. And I found myself over the years becoming affected by the weather. SAD, seasonal affective disorder, whatever it's called, right? Seasonal, you know what I'm talking about, SAD, where the weather makes you sad. Like over time, like that really got to me, especially after my mother's death. When it got gray and cold in New York, man, my mood just plummeted. Out here, not so much. I mean, I love it. And this is terrible to say, it barely rains out here, and California definitely needs the rain, but for me on a personal level, I'm happy that it doesn't rain so much, because I cannot fucking stand the rain. I hate the rain. Additionally, you know, the weather is different from, say, weather in South Florida, where I also lived for quite some time. It's not anywhere near as humid and muggy, and like I said, it doesn't rain that often. South Florida rains damn near every day. You're gonna get a 30-minute deluge at least, and you're getting that tropical rain. So when it rains, you're getting wet. Doesn't matter what kind of rain gear you have, what kind of umbrella protection, whatever. If your ass is outside, you're going to get wet. And even now, you know, I'm taking my little walk. It's nice right now. It's probably about 70 degrees. This shit is great. I know it was like snowing in some parts of the country, like, you know, the other day. Not here. Felt like this. I shouldn't even have this hoodie on right now, but whatever. Just the weather is awesome. It's another reason why I'm not going anywhere right now.
So another reason why I'm not planning on leaving Los Angeles anytime soon is because things are so much cheaper out here. When I first moved to Miami for school, that was all sorts of shock, culture shock, but also like sticker shock because going from Memphis to Miami, everything seemed to be like 10 times more expensive. But after living in Miami forever and then moving from Miami to New York, things were more expensive in New York, but not to the point to where it like shocked me, not to where I was just like, oh my God, it wasn't overwhelming. Just things were expensive. And I rationalize that because it's just like, all right, well, I'm living in New York. Of course, things are more expensive. Everything is more expensive in New York City. And so, in making that move from New York to LA, are things expensive out here? I mean, sure, yeah, I guess. But after living in New York for as long as I did, I'm just like, yeah, no, this is cool with me. Whether we're talking about groceries or just about anything else, but especially like rent. And here's the thing, I mean, rent is comparable. Well, not even. What I used to tell people is that rent is comparable, but you get more for your money out here. But rent is not comparable. No, it's definitely like more expensive in New York than it is in Los Angeles. Yes, it's true. $2,300 crib in Los Angeles is infinitely bigger than what you would get for 2,300 in New York. But I mean, look, shit is cheaper out here. It's cheaper. Probably the only thing that costs more in LA than in New York is gas. And I'm not even sure about that because I didn't really buy gas when I lived in New York. But I do recognize that like $4 a gallon, $4 and up, it's pretty pricey. But overall, it's cheaper to live in LA, in Southern California, than it is in New York, which is where I. So for me, it's just cheap. It's just cheaper. It's not as expensive. So, so I mean, yeah, I haven't done what I set out to do when I moved out here, and until I do that, moving, leaving LA is not an option for me. The situation would have to become serious. Have to really become dire for me to say, all right, I've had enough. I've done my time. I'm gonna pack up and go. But as it stands, Los Angeles is still pretty cool to me. I'm still digging it despite all the challenges that have been beset upon me and beset upon everybody because of the pandemic. Not ready to pack my bags and vamp just yet. As far as celebrating my LAversary, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. If I'm going to do anything, probably not. I know what I would like to do, which is eat a nice meal, but I don't feel comfortable like going into a restaurant right now. And as I said, I already ate terribly all day yesterday, and I'm trying to take my health a little more seriously. So I don't know that I can really afford to eat terrible food again.